Hi everybody, I'm Bill Evans for Peghead Nation, and today we're going to take a look at a new model from the great folks at Deering Banjo down in Southern California. This is a Tony Trischka endorsement model called the Silver Clipper. There are two versions of this banjo. If you happen to see Tony playing live or on YouTube, he's going to be playing the exact same banjo with a lot fancier multicolored bling. That's called the Gold Clipper. This is the relatively economy-sized version of that banjo. Exactly the same components, same inlay patterns even, but much less very labor-intensive decoration than you'll find on the Golden Clipper. So today we're going to take a look at the Silver Clipper, and let me just get to the quick of it. This is a great banjo. I have searched for an instrument for a very long time that can handle hard driving bluegrass really well and can handle really pretty melodic stuff or single string. And this instrument really seems to do it all right out of the box. Deering sent this to me brand new. It had not been played. I haven't touched the setup. And I'm really impressed. Let's take a look at some of the components because this really is a unique banjo. The first thing that's going to attract your attention, no doubt, is what we call a fingerboard extension. Noam Pikelny has pioneered the use of this sort of thing, but you know, you can find this on banjos that date back 100 years. So it's been in the works for quite a long time. There's different ways of doing this. In this case, Deering has decided to elevate the fingerboard a little bit, which requires a taller bridge. There's an 11/16, what Deering calls the smile bridge on this banjo. The smile bridge has a slightly longer middle foot, which compensates for the tendency of the bridge to bend a little bit under pressure. So 11/16, only 1/16 inch taller than the standard bridge. I don't notice it myself, and a lot of players prefer this. But in this case, the fingerboard is raised up a little bit, and then we have two extra frets. Now, I'm sure that those people around you might be saying, why would you want two extra frets on your banjo? It's obvious to banjo players, right? We can play higher. Essentially what we have is we have another whole octave in G. But also if we're playing something in the key of D, we've got the high D chord up there as well. So gosh, if you wanted to play, say, Earl Scruggs' Ground Speed, well, here we go. Whoops. And then you have to remember to go 2 frets lower, right? Because you've got those extra 2 frets. And you can even catch nice single string phrases. And another really impressive thing about this instrument is that this is staying in tune. When I've been trying to practice a little bit on it up the neck here, and when it's out of tune, it's really more because I'm not fretting it correctly. I mean, it's designed to be in tune all the way up the neck. It's pretty remarkable, and you can. So that's one of the more obvious things about this instrument that make it fun. Would you use these upper 2 frets? Of course you would. I would all the time. And then of course you've got this. So, kind of a cool thing. Now, the other really attention-grabbing element of this instrument is the inlay pattern. Tony Trischka designed this inlay pattern, and all the way from the peg head up to the 22nd fret, we've got designs that I've heard rumor relate back to kind of traditional Czech marquetry design. Tony is of Czech heritage, and pretty remarkable, the inlay pattern. Unlike anything that I've seen, really pretty. We've got a radius fingerboard. What is that? Well, most banjos have what we call a flat fingerboard. So in other words, the ebony or the rosewood or whatever the fingerboard is made of, it's just simply a flat surface. Radius fingerboard is going to be curved in some degrees. You'll see this on, most electric guitars. Some acoustic guitars have them. Most do. Some mandolins have them if they're made that way. What's the advantage of a radius fingerboard? Well, it makes, I think that, for it's really in the mind of the player, but for some things, especially on the banjo, single string and melodic style, it's a little bit easier. So, Bela Fleck, Noam Pikelny, Alison Brown, Tony Trischka, of course, all use banjos with radius fingerboards. There can be different amounts of radius. So, for instance, the banjo that Bela Fleck plays has a very strong radius. In other words, it's more of a curve than some of the pre-war Gibsons that were made in the late 1930s have a bit of a radius fingerboard, but it's a real gentle radius. And you'll see a more gentle radius on a Huber banjo, for instance. This falls right in between the severe radius that Bela Fleck might prefer to the Gibson. It's right, and it's very, very playable. It just, things lay out easier. So when you go to play this banjo, you're going to find that the fingerboard is wider. Just the slightest difference we really notice. The measurement for this banjo is 1 1/4 of an inch, which is substantially more than a Gibson or a Huber style banjo. The advantage of this for some players is, again, playing single string style and guitar oriented things. It feels like you've got a little bit more room to move. If you're really into bends, you've got more room to do that too. Now let's take a look at what the audience doesn't see for this Deering Silver Clipper banjo. Let's take a look at the back. It is stunning. Tony indicated as he was working with the Deering folks to develop this banjo that he would like a quilted maple veneer on the back of the resonator. So what Deering did was they came up with this idea of the book-matched quilted maple. In other words, fold it on itself, take the same piece of wood, lay it out flat, and glue it down. So it's two pieces of wood that are a mirror image, and that's pretty stunning. Also something that's pretty different. The resonator has a black and white binding back on the back, as you can see, and on the side. The neck is mahogany, so we've got kind of a mixed breed banjo. Normally, if you have a maple resonator, you'll have a maple neck. But it's not unusual to mix these up. Sammy Sheeler has done that for many years with his playing. And even Earl Scruggs had a mahogany neck on his Granada for a while. So this is mahogany neck with the maple veneer, book-matching maple veneer. Deering tuners, and they call the peghead shape the Jens Kruger design. And again, really, really nice use of that traditional Czech design for the inlay in the peghead. So the engine of the banjo is the pot. And we've got the standard Deering tailpiece, the smile bridge, as I mentioned earlier, the Tony Trischka autographed banjo head. The tone ring that's used in this banjo, Deering calls the 06 ring. I think it was developed in 2006 when they released the Ten Brooks banjo. And it is the tone ring that's found on a lot of Deering instruments. If we take a look at the inside of the banjo, you'll see that the wooden rim is unfinished, and there is a light coating of varnish on the rim. But Deering feels like the banjo will breathe better, sound better without there being a heavy finish on the rim, as you'll find in some banjos. Makes perfect sense to me. We've got two coordinating rods as well to help attach the neck to the pot of the instrument. So another feature of these Tony Trischka banjos, the Silver Clipper and the Golden Clipper, is that the internal walls of the resonator are concaved in. There's a little bit more wood and it's angled. There's not a curvature here. You can see there's the meeting of the two planes. But if you look at it sideways, it's a much thicker piece of wood and it's concaved in. And Deering claims that projects the tone outward, making for a better sounding banjo. So once again, I'm very impressed with this banjo in terms of its ability to do everything well. Whether you're playing, Ralph Stanley, really deep, and everybody here in Peghead Nation who are guitar players have agreed with me that the banjo is loud. Can't hurt to have a nice loud banjo. And so you've got, an instrument that can really cut it for bluegrass, but also, really a lot of sustain, really sweet sound. Intonation is good. And then, of course, you have your secret weapon. The fretboard extension that allows you to play higher than ever before. Thanks a lot. This is the Deering Silver Clipper Banjo, available from Deering Banjos, and thank you for joining me today. I'm Bill Evans, and check me out. Check out the Bluegrass Banjo course at pegheadnation.com. thought-provoking.com. We've got all kinds of lessons from intermediate to advanced level playing. Come join me. Take care, everybody.